To not get overwhelmed in Last Epoch with loot, you need a loot filter, and I have everything you need to know in this video for you. Stay tuned for that. What's up? My name is Fup. I'm, Franky Boy's co-moderator on this channel, so from time to time you will see me. And like I said, today I have loot filters for you. In Last Epoch, it is super important that you have them just because of the sheer amount of loot that there is. One quick thing before I forget it later on. When you have an active loot filter, you can press X and hold it, and then you will shortly disable the loot filter. Like that, you can check other loot which is not shown at the moment, or if your filter is working. I will show that later too though. When you press Shift F, you open the loot filter menu, and at the very start it will look like this. On the green button with the plus, you can add a loot filter. You can easily paste it from your clipboard. Most of you will probably do that, or you can create a new filter. I'll give you some easy instructions and explain what everything does, and later on I'll show an example from Max Roll and guide you through it. Okay, we will create a new filter. I'll name it Video Filter, test 1, 2, 3 in the description. We can select a neat icon, let's say a yellow star, and then we have the filter right here. We can add up to 75 rules, and we will do so right now. Basically, what we want to do with a loot filter is either show or hide items. Why show? Because we can either highlight them or have a rule that is more important than another hide rule. I'll show you that later. So we have this right here where it says visibility, and we have 3 options: show, hide, and recolor. Let's start with hide. In order for the game to know what we don't want to see, we need to add a condition. Once we click that, we have multiple options like item type, rarity, level, class requirement, or affixes. And in this case, we will create the rule which probably is the most common one out there, and probably also the first that everyone does, is rarity. We don't want to see normal and magic items anymore, so we both click them. We can say add the rule, and now we have our first rule. When we open our menu, we should be able to see this item now when I drop it. We do, but not this one when we drop it. And we don't. Perfect. And now, again, quick reminder, when I press X, I can disable it temporarily and I can pick it up. When I expand this rule and say, I don't want to see rare items anymore, then I can update it, and boom, we don't see the yellow item. We can also disable the rule altogether by clicking the check mark. Now we should be able to see it. Yep, we do. Sometimes we want to see items even though other rules say we don't. For example, oftentimes rare items are good when there are certain stats on them. So this item has mana on it, and I want to still see it. When I drop it, I wouldn't see it right now because of our rule, and by that we need to add another rule. And when I put that rule above my first rule, it knows, okay, this rule is more important, so when they conflict or bump into each other, the rule which is further up top is the dominant. I will say show me the item. I will add a condition. I want to see every item that has vitality on it, and that is, I think, further up top here. It is under attributes. I can either show all attributes, or when I click this thing open, I can say, I want only vitality. I can add that, and now we should be able to see this. This thing, right? I think I said mana earlier. I meant vitality. It is right here, and boom, we see it. When we switch these rules around, now the first restricting rule is active or above it, so we shouldn't be able to. And there it is. We switch them back around, and there it is. And with this system, we can specify what we see and what we don't see, like to a very, very specific amount, which is great because we actually really need it in games like this. I'll now show some advanced options, and after that I'll go over an example from Max. So we go back into our vitality rule, and once we click on more than one thing we want to see, let's say we want to see all attributes, then we can say, okay, the item I want to see needs to have at least 2 of them, and it needs to be at least rare or whatever. We can also click advanced options. You know that items have tiers, or the stats on the items rather, the prefixes and the suffixes, and we can say it needs to be more than rank 3 in addition to the rule above. And then we can add many more conditions, and the more conditions we specify, the rarer we see items, of course. For example, it also needs to be level 45, and the item needs to be an offense. And then we have a very specific role, which is probably complete nonsense. We have it. Okay, when you want to have a different loot filter active, just click the drop-down menu, and I will show you now an example with this loot filter. This is the one I used when I leveled. it's from max rule, and we will start at the bottom. The very bottom rule is hide all normal magic and rare items. That's the one I showed you earlier, so we don't need to go over that again. It shows all experimental and personal items, so items like from the mages will always show. The next rule is hide all idols. You may think, huh, why is that? We want to see idols. That is because just above that we have a rule and actually a recolor. Actually a great example, when I click on it, we see which color we used for it, and we see here, okay, we clicked on all idols from my class, and they will have a different color, so I won't miss. Oh yeah, I forgot. We can also click on emphasize, then the drops will have all capital letters, and we can make level dependence. Isn't really useful when you are at max level already, or like above a certain threshold, so this is rare. So we hide all idols, and just above that is a rule that we only see the one we need to see, which is great. The guide also added another rule, which is basically the same one as the recolor one, but a little bit more strict. So it specifies that it has to have at minimum 2 of the affixes on the item. As soon as I am satisfied with most of my idols, I can untick the not strict one and only have the strict one active. The next rule is a recolor for items I want to shatter. This one has many affixes selected that are important for my build and that I need to roll on it very often. However, they aren't rare, so the filter needs to filter those out which have less than tier 3 ranks on them, so it's actually valuable to shatter. The rule above though has some somewhat rare affixes though. These just need to be in the item, and there's no tier restriction on here. We emphasized it by making it in capital letters. Another rule which is very common is always show all exalted items. This is to see many items for different builds or characters, or just whatever. At some point you can restrict it further down, but at the start it is very good. The rule above that is tier 7 exalteds are highlighted, so as soon as there is a rank or tier 7 effect, it gets emphasized. And now we get to the rules for the items my build want. For example, we want a specific wand, and every wand that meets 2 out of 5 affixes will get shown. Later on, I could disable that rule and have a stricter version of it that is useful when I have good items for many slots. Want to tone down the number of loot I want to see. We have those double rule sets for every armor slot, and then up top we have 2 very important rules. One of them is show all unique and set items. That's a rule that should basically be active in every build, because at the moment, at least, I couldn't think of a situation where you don't want to see these. And since it's up top, it is always dominant and will be active. And the other one is recolor in red high value affixes. Some affixes are very rare or extremely important for my build, and I definitely don't want to miss them. So we recolor them in red so that I definitely don't miss the item to either destroy it to get the shard or equip it. Again, reminder, you can disable it temporarily with X. Up here you see which loot filter is active. And with that, I want to conclude this video. I hope this helped you a little bit, so you can, filter the stuff you don't want to see. If it helped you, why not subscribe? It would make me definitely happy. You should also consider watching one of these videos right here. And with that, again, thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time. Your Fup. Bye bye.